What is going on, my friends? Bruce Lund, founder of the Solopreneur Movement podcast. Every single week, I come into your life to bring you some kind of relevant topic to help you grow your business as a quote unquote solopreneur. A solopreneur is any individual person who is solely in charge of their business growth, whether that's their sales, whether that's their operation, their service, their marketing. And of course, all of this is a mindset. This is a special Spend Time with Talent edition specific to the title world. I have my really good friend, John Sanders, visiting us from Las Vegas. I would much rather be there than where I'm currently at. I've had the pleasure of getting to know John really over the last year and a half, has gone through our program. And even though I get to see you like once or twice a year, John, I really do consider you a good friend. And, you know, you've been great to me over this past year. So thank you so much for joining the show.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, I think that our relationship is maybe a little over a year old, if you will, but I know we connected very quickly over Michigan football and a few other things. And then having you come out and having a chance to grab a meal together, really get to know you and connect. And even though it's only been a 1 year friendship, I absolutely would consider you a dear friend and follow all that you're doing, and really proud of all the things that you got going on. So congratulations for a great 2019. Really excited to see you even improve on that in 2020, man.
Well, I appreciate that, and right back at you, man. Everything that you just said, and you know, you've shown me some things on the golf course as well. We'll get into some of that. Well, perfect. Let's jump right in. You know, I do want to I give all of our guests basically 3 to 5 minutes of what I call a humble brag, where you can kind of tell your story, your background, and really obviously why you're of value. I know why you're of value to our audience, but you can kind of let our audience know your background specific to the title world.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, you know, I got into the title industry almost by mistake. So I was a golf pro, right? And out here in Las Vegas, and decided a bunch of the members at the club that I was at were like, you know, get out of the golf business. You don't make enough money. You work too much. My wife, who's a school teacher, you know, she works Monday through Friday and has, you know, weekends and holidays off. And the busiest time for a golf pro is weekends and holidays. And so we didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time together. Obviously wasn't making much money. So one of the members, well, actually many of them, but specifically one member said, you know what, I really think you should pursue this title thing. All you do is play golf and take people to lunch all day. And I'm like, I don't know how that could possibly be a job, but let's see what's up. And so ultimately I was connected with a guy at Chicago Title. His name's Robert Ray. He's become a good friend of mine and really kind of a mentor to me. And so I was hired to be on the commercial side of the real estate business here in Las Vegas. Robert was running the commercial division of Chicago Title at the time. And so I jump in, I start learning the business from him, and that's right around the time that the market turned. And, you know, essentially there was no business to be had. Obviously, residential business was a struggle as well. But it actually helped me. And the reason I say that it helped me was because when I came on board, I saw the success that all of the sales executives were having, making great money, living a great lifestyle, doing all of these things. And I had none of it. But what I did have is I had the work ethic to go out and find deals in a situation or in a climate where my colleagues were losing clients and losing deals left and right. So it helped me really understand right off the bat this idea of value add and what I could do to bring value to the clients that I was bringing on. So fast forward, you know, we go into that REO stage and then that short sale stage, and all along the way learning what I could do to bring value to my clients, and then kind of couple that with almost, so I don't know if you do the disc training, right? But I'm like a high IC type of guy. So I'm a big list guy. I'm a big organized guy. I time block all the time. And the organization thing was never the problem. But the take action side was where I kind of struggled. And it took a long time, but I'll tell you this is kind of a cool story. One of the executives within our company, I was awarded, I was asked to go to our senior leadership deal we do every year. It's kind of a cool recognition, if you will. And after the last night, the party, comes up to me and he's like, I'm really proud of you, because I got to admit, I just never thought you'd be successful in this business, because I didn't have the sales skills or the kind of go out and get them. I was very organized, but and that to this day sticks with me. One, because it drives me, right? Because there's nothing better than to prove somebody wrong. Whenever they say you can't do something. Now, to his credit, he wasn't saying that I couldn't. He didn't tell me in advance. He just watched me grow and make it. But I still lean on that, because there's always going to be doubters. There's always going to be people out there that say, you can't do it, or you're not good at this. But man, if you use that as motivation and turn it around and go out and every day just do the things you're supposed to do, it's back to the basics. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell who I am. 3 years ago, Robert Ray, again, my mentor, he started up our national commercial services division here in Las Vegas. So I have a great kind of dual role, if you will. I'm 100% Chicago title when it comes to residential real estate in Las Vegas, but I'm also part of our national commercial services team, where I'm able to call on commercial brokers or lenders or attorneys, principals, and I can put deals together nationwide. So that's something that's really unique and different for what I do. And I always tell people all the time, I got the best job in the world. I get to help people meet or exceed their dreams and have a lot of fun along the way.
Well, I love it. And you really do help people do that. I've seen it firsthand, like I said, being out on the golf course and seeing some of your referral partners and seeing the value that you bring to your community, right? As far as the real estate community and trainings and stuff like that. And humble brag, I'm going to humble brag for you. I know you're having your best months ever this year. Is that a fair assessment as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
The one thing I will say is that rising tide lifts all boats, right? I mean, we're in a market right now that if you're not having a great year, maybe even a record year, then you're doing something wrong, because you've taken a step back. I mean, let's just say that the market is up 15%. If you're not up 15%, then in theory, you're behind. You've lost out on something. But to your point, absolutely. I know I text you often, and I want to say like August or September, I had the best month that I had ever had. And I was looking at the reports at the end of November, and there's no doubt that this will be the best year that I've ever had. That being said, I had to make some sacrifices too, because in order to grow some of the commercial side of things, I had to take I don't know that I want to call it a step back, but I would call it a side step in my residential space, because there's only so many hours in a day. Yep. Even when you time block, even when you really assess your business, you have to leverage all the time that you have and all the resources around you to continue to grow. And I'm already starting to plan for 2020 in ways that I can do that. And there's some absolute things that I need to cut out, as you would call them, the amateur activities, and even more the professional activities, right? I need to focus on those and how I can do those better. But yep. To your point, I appreciate you acknowledging it. Yeah, it's been an amazing 2019. And the only thing driving me right now is to have an even better 2020.
That's right. Well, that's why I love your competitive mindset too. Being a former athlete, or even let's say current athlete, right? You're not like you're not retired or anything, but it's that competitive side of things. If we're not growing, we're dying. If we're not getting better, if we don't have something to strive towards, then we're going to be average and mediocre. And from day one, I could tell that about you, the competitive side of it, where your best days are still ahead of you. Do all of us go through ebb and flows to where sometimes we need to kick ourselves in the, yes, right, but that's where it's identifying that and saying, man, am I really performing at my highest level?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, the competitor in me drives me, but it's a little bit different. It's not that I'm necessarily chasing and trying to beat that guy, like whoever my competition is. It's the competition inside of me to be a better me tomorrow than I am today. There's no doubt there's competition in our business, but I kind of look at it from an abundance mindset versus anything else. And if I do what I'm supposed to do, then I'm going to get mine. Because I know that in my business, there's so many others that don't. They take it for granted. They have their book of business and they just kind of keep collecting on that. But it's slow and steady. Oftentimes wins the race, but it's consistency and it's commitment to do something every day. I mean,
I love
activities every day.
Yep.
And truly, you don't have to reinvent the wheel in what I do. You have to stick to the basics and do them consistently. And oftentimes you have to fail, but failure is a great thing, man. Failure is great because you learn. I'll tell you a real quick, kind of not a quick story, but it took me a long time to understand that failure was a good thing. I came from, the golf business where there was no real failure, right? You woke up, you went to the golf course, you opened the door, people started coming in, you had great relationships. But I never really faced failure. Now maybe on the golf course when I had a really crummy day, but in the business world, there was never this failure. And our senior vice president with the F&F company, Steve DeLaviaga, he told me something, and I've just absolutely continued to use it, is fail forward. Yep. Always fail forward. And I have it taped up here in my office. I have it on as a screensaver. But the more times I fail during the course of the day, the better I am because I'm learning from it. So anyway, that's
perfect, man. And I love the fact that you said, be better tomorrow than I am today. We're competing against our own potential every single day. And I do think that can be an emotional cancer is when you're comparing yourself to other people or that's not a good way to live. And the other part about all this that's important, and you keep saying the word consistency is, when it's same shit, different day, it can be easy to get burnout or complacent or whatever that might be. You're 16 years into the business, and so you've been around it. So it can be very easy to just feel like you're just going through the motions. And so that's why, whether it's a coach, trainer, mindset, whatever it might be, protecting your confidence, all of this is vital to your success long-term to get you to where you are today.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Perfect. So, let's jump in versus talking about, 16 years in the business. Let's go all the way back into year number 1 and 2. And, I really do try to have this be advice for people that are younger, newer in the business, that are just getting started, who in a lot of ways are trying to figure this out. So knowing what you know now, what would you coach those folks on?
So when I started in the business, I was told, hey, essentially create a milk route, right? Create a route that you're going to drive and you're going to pop into every office that you come by. So whether it's in the commercial space, Colliers International and then CB and so on and so forth, you're just going to pop in, you're going to walk around, you're going to shake hands, you're going to ask people how you can help them. And at that time, the market sucked. I mean, it was tanking so bad. These people were in tough spots. I mean, they were miserable, and it was not an easy thing. And what I realized in doing that was, if I can sit back, observe what's going on, and really think from a client perspective, like, what do they need today? What's a small little piece of value that I can provide to them that's going to make their job a little bit better. And so that was the mindset. It was always coming from a place of how can I help versus, hey, give me a deal. And although I didn't create a lot of deals back then, because there weren't a lot of deals, I created a lot of great relationships. And it's tough, right? When you're creating all of these relationships, but you're not seeing the deal flow come through the door, you're thinking, man, okay, I get paid by bringing deals through the door, not by creating relationships. But as I look back on that now, the relationships I created them are absolutely why present day I am doing what I'm doing. But that being said, from a practical sense, specific to the title industry, if I could go back and tell my year 1 self a few things: start slow, be consistent, have a list of 20 to 30 people only. That's all you're going to do. You're going to stay consistent with those 20 or 30 people over the course of a 4-month process. And then reevaluate that list every 3 or 4 months. And at the end of the first year, if you were to do that, you'd have 15 or 20 locked in clients. And honestly, in our business, you really only need a book of, call it 100 clients that are consistent and loyal to you, that you are their partners. You help them do everything they need for their business, and they partner with you. And in turn, direct as much business as they can to you. It's not like you need a database of 1,000 people or 2,000 or 25,000. I totally understand from the real estate agent side where the long-term play is that the bigger your database, we call it the data bank, right? The bigger your database, the more opportunities you're going to have. But specific to title, be very focused in, number one, who your client is. Who are you targeting? You've helped me out with that a lot through the course of the 90-day sales program, is really drilling down and identifying who your client is. Your client should not be anybody that throws me a deal. You're going to chase 500 agents that might send you one deal every 4 or 5 months and never create relationships with them. So spend time researching, where is your office? Where do you focus? What's your sweet spot? Is it the luxury market? Is it the low end market? Is it the condo market? Is it owner occupied? Is it non-owner occupied? Is it guys that golf? Is it maybe you play basketball, maybe you're on a baseball team, maybe you love to go to the theater, maybe you're huge into cooking, whatever it is. Write that down and understand who exactly you're chasing, and then put as many of those people in your database as you can, and just start providing value to them. Drip them a great new marketing campaign or a new social media piece, or fire them a bomb video, handwritten notes, all of those things, just constantly, 1 or 2, maybe even 3 times a week, touch them. We're not talking about bug them. We're just talking about raise your hand. Yep. Nudge them a little bit. If I had that in my first year, I would have eliminated a lot of mistakes. I would have eliminated a lot of kind of punches to the gut, if you will. But I'm very proud of where I am now. But it's one of the things I tell newer sales executives in our industry all the time is, you know what? Don't think big right now. Just focus on 20 people, do it consistent, and watch what happens. And it does. It works.
I love it, man. That's very tangible advice. That's why I wanted to have you on here. It's very practical, and it gives them a clear benchmark because, again, especially the first year, I mean, we've heard in the title business, it takes probably a year and a half, maybe even 2 years to even get up and going to where you want to get to. And so a lot of people will give up and give in before a breakthrough happens. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen so many people burn out or burn up, wash out, if you will, in the title space. And I really think it was the fault of the title industry, to be quite honest with you. I think that, there's so much recruitment going on in our space that if I go over to my competitor and I pull somebody over, that obviously increases our market share, which is great. But there's a lot of kind of rehashes. There's a lot of people that aren't all that successful in our market. And what I love about our sales manager, Valerie Grijalva, she's gone out and she's identified some amazing talent in our operation. And she's committed to them long term. She's told them, hey, this is not a bring me business in 3 months or 6 months deal. She's coached them, she's trained them, and we've got some rock stars on the Chicago Title Las Vegas sales team. And it all goes to Valerie, but it also goes to the people that she's committing to. Because if I bring somebody on and I tell them, hey, I'm going to help you succeed, not just, hey, go out and find a deal. What I remember, again, getting started was, hey, just go out and find business. Like, what? I'm a golf pro. What do you mean go out and find business? I don't even know how to go out and find business. But she's brought on people and she's trained them. She's committed to them. And when somebody shows you that type of commitment, you want to run through a wall for them. So. Yep.
Perfect. And then, as you talked about too, like it's great being a part of a team that pushes each other and that you can mastermind together and that you can share your struggles with or celebrate your successes with, right? So that's a big part of your team as well.
Oh, absolutely. I just finished a book and I would encourage it for anybody out there. But Eric Hatch is this dude out of Fargo, North Dakota, and he wrote a book that's called Play for the Person Next to You. And essentially it's a team, right? And one of the things that he talks about is celebrate the successes of those that are around you. Don't be jealous whenever somebody on your team is doing better than you. Celebrate it. And if in fact you're the guy that's doing the best on that team, reach down and pull that other person up, because then everybody succeeds. And I really do think that that's a personality trait that I have. I don't always have the best numbers in each month in our company. In fact, far from it. Jamie Lewis on our team, she's a rock star. But it's always about, our team is always about helping people out. I'll give you another example. We have a guy on the NCS side. His name is Owen. This dude's been in the business for 2 years. He's crushing it. He's probably going to be, title rock star millionaire in the next few years. This dude's a stud. I love hanging out around with him. I love his energy. And he's all about, one, learning, but how can I help people? How can I grow people? And I love seeing that success. I don't have, the pity party of like, oh man, I can't believe, Owen's crushing it and I didn't have as many deals or whatever it is. No way. It's just the opposite. You look at stuff like that and you can't help but get excited for people like that. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have that type of mindset, or if you're on a team, or if you're a sales manager and you identify people that are so negative Nancy, you need to reconsider who they are, because that can pull you down, and you don't want those type of people around.
That's right. They become emotional cancers, right? There's a lot of people that are quote unquote lone wolves out there in sales and business that are successful, but however, it can completely tear down the entire team. And I love the fact that you kind of said, and I had to learn this early on in my career because of my athlete side, right? As an athlete, as a former college pitcher, you're part of a team, but still you want to be a starter. You want to be one of those top 3 guys. In college, there's only 3. There's not 5 or 6, right? But you want to be one of those top 3 guys. And it took me a while to understand, in order for me to win, somebody else doesn't have to lose. And I think early, in sports, we learn that a lot, don't we? It's like that's a part of the competition side, but then it doesn't really help us be a great teammate in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, when you're talking baseball, you want to be the guy that the manager gives you the ball so you can run out on the mound and pitch, and you want to strike out the guy that's in the batter's box. There's no doubt about it. There's one winner, there's one loser. But specific to the team, you could be an amazing pitcher, but if you pitch a good game, but the batter keeps putting the ball in play and the guys behind you aren't fielding the ball, you have a problem. You have a problem. So the whole team needs to do better, and they drive one another, because maybe you're the number 3 pitcher in your instance, but you're looking at the number 2 and the number 1. And if you're competitive inside, you're spending a little extra time in the bullpen. You're spending a little extra time in the gym. You're spending a little extra time conditioning, because yeah, it's great to be one of the top 3, but as much success as you want for those other 2, you still want to beat them. Not because you want to look at them and say, I beat you. It makes the team better, but it also helps you out as well in the process.
Man, you're amazing. You're amazing. You break this stuff down, man. That's why I love spending time with you. I know I was your quote unquote coach, but you coached me as much as I coached you. That's why I love these conversations. So, well, let's jump into, I do want to talk about, you talked about golf and you talked about some of the high value activities. What are those areas for you now in your business, being in 16 years? I know we spent time talking to that first or second year person, but now it's talking specifically about your business. What are the areas that you've really identified of, hey, me, John Sanders, I go out there and I'm world-class at this, and this in my business?
Well, I'll tell you, as you know, it's been a real shift for me, really since our coaching sessions, but over the course of the last, call it 7 months. If you recall, you and I did an event together out here in Las Vegas. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Masters Week. And we were just having a beer. We were kind of BSing, right? And you're like, hey, let's go shoot a video on who's going to win the Masters. I'm like, hell no, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing video. And I did not see, one, I didn't see the value in it for me. And 2, I just didn't want to put myself out there because I didn't want to say something stupid. I didn't want to say something incorrect. It's better for people to think I'm dumb than for me to jump on video and prove that I'm dumb, right? But I've really jumped in on the video thing. I do this thing called an emergency 9, where if you're a golfer, you understand it. But basically, it's 9 questions. They're all the same questions, and I ask anybody and everybody that I could possibly get. And you'd be shocked at the response that I've got from this. and it's fun. It's cool. I learned something new about some of the golf buddies that I have. Whenever you and I play golf the next time again, I'm going to definitely get you recorded. But that's something video. I've started doing some green screen video stuff. I've started doing some live video stuff. I still haven't. I shouldn't say live video stuff, but kind of outside, video. The one thing I haven't jumped on yet, and I need to do a better job of it, is kind of Facebook Live stuff. But video is huge. And 8 months ago, I could not have seen myself doing it. And now I'm 100% in. And I'll tell you, I didn't always. I had this idea that the people watching it were going to judge me and be like, oh, look what Sanders is doing is so stupid. My goal is not to reach them. My goal is to reach the ones that actually get value from it. I can't worry about the people that are, I can't believe Sanders is doing some stupid video again. Like, whatever. I can't control what you think. But know that it comes from a place of wanting to help. Hopefully I'm providing a little bit of value, a little bit of knowledge to somebody. And I really try mindset wise to focus on, okay, I'm putting this out there for the people that are going to get something from it, not for the people who are going to knock me. So that's one thing. Video is huge. Second, podcast. So you and I are doing a podcast now, right? Well, I started a podcast. I'm kind of 5 or 6 episodes into it, if you will. And it's just called the John Sanders Podcast. And it's something to the effect of sports, real estate, and all things Vegas. I'm a sports guy. You're a sports guy. I love talking sports. There's always going to be a lean towards the sports side of thing, whether it's, running Rebel basketball or football or specific to UNLV or the Golden Knights. But then there's also a component of I want to have people on the podcast that have a story, not just a real estate story, but that's part of it. But people that kind of have something a little unique, a little bit different. So I'm loving the podcast thing. I need to get a whole lot better at it. But if I continue to think fail forward each time with every podcast I do, I get a little bit better. That's good. And then, from a practical sense, another thing that you taught me that I've really implemented is the 10-5-5 social media thing. I've always been a time block guy. That's never been a problem. But it's being a little more specific in what I do and jumping on the social media scene and making sure that, my 10 likes, my 5 comments, and my 5 messages every day, it's damn near non-negotiable. I have to do it before I do anything else. And we always struggle with this idea of how powerful is social media, but it's relational. It's not that, I don't want to quantify like, oh, I got a deal because I like somebody's picture of the pizza they had last night. That's not the case, but it's relational. At the end of the day, this business is still relational. There's just other mediums to use that put you in front of people. And so that's really it. I mean, I could go on. You've helped me with so many different things, but those are things that I am absolutely focused on to make sure that I do at a high level, because all of those things generate more kind of voice to voice opportunities with my clients.
Yep. And I've seen your uptick, and it's been amazing, really, like I said, over the last 9 months to just see you go from, doing one video to doing a video per week to doing a podcast now to doing green screen videos. You really have taken it, but you're articulate, you're very good at what you do, like just the communication side of it. But you made a strong point for, again, this podcast is for all you users out there, which is we care so much about what other people think when we're doing a video. And I do remember that very first conversation that we had during Masters Week, and we're hanging out at your country club. And that was the mindset for you, is like, well, what is anybody going to care about the video, right? And it's like, who cares about the 80%? It's the 20% that, because at the end of the day, social media is a social network. So a lot of your clientele, a lot of your people on social media enjoy golf, enjoy your perspective on things like that, right? Enjoy what UNLV or whatever it might be, Las Vegas. And so it's really just connecting socially with a group of people that are on your online, and not caring so much about what everybody thinks, because we all know if you try to make everybody happy, you're guaranteed to not make yourself happy in the process. So I do think you have a lot more confidence now, and even being more comfortable with who you are. Would you agree with that as far as doing these different kinds of things?
Absolutely. Again, the probably mindset was probably what held me back to this day, honestly, mindset to some extent is what holds me back more than anything. I mean, I got to be honest with you. There's just some days where I'm focused, I'm laser locked in, I'm ready to go. Then there's some days where Sanders is just having a pity party. But another thing you taught me, you said some will, some won't. So what? And again, I have all kinds of notes if you can see my desk around here, but I try to put myself in mindset wise in a good spot all the time, but I need to not worry about what's being said about me and just go out and focus on doing my job to the best of my ability today. Yep. And then, circle back, learn from my mistakes, kind of chart what I do well, and then do it again the next day, and so on and so forth. Yep. But I'd be lying if I didn't think that there were times where, I don't want to make that prospecting call to that top agent because that guy doesn't want to be bugged by me, or no, I don't want to reach out to this person because we dropped the ball on him last time and he's going to yell at me and so on and so forth. Like, no, I got to fight through that and just pick up the damn phone and make the call, and or pop into that office or shake that hand or do whatever it is, and just make it happen. So it's always going to be a struggle, but the more you do it, it's like a muscle, right? The more you work it out, the more you stretch it, the more you utilize it, the better you're going to be at it. And that's really the mindset that I have to have. And hopefully I have a few more good days than bad days.
I love it, man. It's just, at the end of the day, we all need to get tougher in the sales cycle, right? I mean, that's really all there is to it. There's always going to be calls that we don't want to make. There's always going to be things that we don't want to do, but that's usually what allows us to grow in the process. And I mean, especially, golf, like I know you're, for those that are listening, we didn't really touch on your golf background, but you're a former golf pro, right? And you've spent a lot of time in that business, but I mean, if you think about golf, you're going to hit more bad shots. Like the amateur's going to hit more bad shots than they're going to hit good shots, right? Yeah.
And so, I mean, when you play at a high level, doesn't matter what sport, it doesn't even have to be sports. When you play, when you're in real estate at a high level, there's a lot of things that you're doing, and let's face it, we don't have perfect days. A lot of times we're doing the activities that we're supposed to be doing, but they're not resulting in quote unquote perfect golf shots. It's all about the next shot, right? So again, for those that don't play golf, I'm going to bore you, but if you hit a bad drive and you're in the rough or you're in the rocks, it's okay. Well, how can I hit the next best shot to position myself to make the best score on a particular hole as I can? And as you continue to move through, it's about business too, right? You hit a bad shot, so to speak, in business, but how can I recover? How can I keep the mindset to keep pushing forward? And I got to be honest, I never really looked at it that way until a few years back. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Don't get me wrong. What we do on a business day-to-day basis is entirely different than you and I jumping in a golf cart with a few beers in the cooler and going and playing golf. But the fact is when you're playing competitively, there are some similarities. And if you draw from them, that competitive nature in you, you'll push through, you'll make it happen. It's not going to be perfect, but you just keep striving for it and you'll get there.
Yeah. And I love the game of life. A lot of people don't know this. I wrote a dissertation and it was really all about this. It's all about how you relate the game of life to business and sales and all those kinds of things in your career, because there are so many correlations if you choose to let the game of life be a teacher for you and apply the sports to it. So, and one last thing that I do want to touch on, talk about the digital marketing side of it, because I know you've gone all in, man. You've gone to the conferences and you'll go spend your own dime on, buying books or going to hear people speak or masterminds. And, one of the things that I've really learned over the last 6 months, just thinking about being a person of interest. We talk about being a person of interest in our coaching program. And I really started thinking of like person of interest really is where it's for you. It's really self-serving in my opinion. Like we want people to be people of influence. And so you become interesting and get more attention, which is very self-serving. You'll see a lot of people that do video that are naturally good at video, but it's very self-serving. It's really like, hey, look at me, it's serving my ego, versus a person of influence does that because they know they can help other people through the service. And so that's what I've seen from you is, again, you don't make it about you make it about them and their story, whether it's your Emergency 9 or your podcast or whatever it might be. It's not self-serving at all. It really is much more about the audience So I just think that's something important for, again, our users out there to think about. It's not about you. And the people, honestly, that need to do videos or should be doing videos are the ones that don't want to do it because they're worried about what other people think. Those are the ones that really have a message that is genuine and authentic, in my opinion. So if nothing else, we're trying to give you permission to do one video, to do one additional thing that's through social media, because you're truly an expert. A lot of people that aren't quote unquote salespeople, like you were talking about earlier, are usually the ones that are really good at what they do and are really genuine in what they do. And so those are the ones that like honestly need the platform more than anybody else in that process.
Yeah, one thing I would strongly encourage as it relates to the video side of things is, number one, you're not going to be perfect, right? You're not Tom Brokaw. I'm John Sanders. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to throw in the ums and the ands and this and that. But a very practical piece of advice was shared with me by an agent out of San Diego. And he says, if an agent asks you a question or your client asks you a question, you answer it, right? Well, other people have that question too. So shoot a video on it. Shoot a 30-second to 45-second, a perfect one for me. What's escrow? Why do I need it? What's title? Why do I need it? How does the recording process work? Like, people don't understand this. Obviously, agents are going to understand this, but the consumer oftentimes doesn't. So I could say, hey, John Sanders here, Chicago Title, Las Vegas. And I was talking with Bruce Lund today, and he asked me, hey, what is escrow? So I thought I'd answer it for you. Here it is. And you pop it out there. And it's very practical. You get asked 50 to 100 questions a day. Some of them you can shoot a video on, some of them you can't. But I bet you if it's top of mind with you about, hey, what are ways or things that I can do to shoot simple videos? Somebody asks you a question, write it down. If they email you, hey, I got a question, look at it and be like, man, would that be a good video? I guarantee you it would. And even me present day, right? So much of what I do is recording videos on my phone still. I don't have like this great big video production thing. I do it on my phone, which is fine. But I'll record the video, then I'll delete it. And then I'll record it again, and then I'll delete it. And then I'll record it and sit on it for 3, 4, 5 days. And then like, okay, I'm finally going to post this thing. And I send it out. But it's practice. Sometimes it's just record the video. Like the guy, and again, his name's Kyle Whistle, but he's like, just shoot the damn video. Just shoot the video. You don't even have to publish it yet. Just shoot the damn video. And I tell myself that all the time. I'm one of those goofy guys that's, kind of selfie stick holding it up and talking into it from time to time. And I have invested in a few different things to help me out, but I just shoot the video. And then I think about, okay, is it worth it? Then I send it out. And it's amazing the interaction that I get from putting those videos out. I'm blown away. Like, hey, people are watching me. Like, it's not just my mom out there that's going to watch this video, but people are actually getting value from it. And it kind of strokes the ego a little bit. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm coming from a place of wanting to help.
Exactly.
I don't put the video out because I want something in return. I put the video out because I want to help you. And if it answers the question of one person out there, be it a client or a target or a prospect, doesn't matter. Just put the video out, help somebody out, provide some value with the expectation of nothing in return. That's going to pay off in the long run.
That's right. And you already said it. It's consistency too. Like Facebook likes the consistency of videos. They like the consistency of you engaging with other people. That's why you're talking about doing your daily 10-5-5 or, whatever the number is for the social media activities. But there's power in taking action, right? There's great power in taking action. And at the end of the day, we talk about in the program, money follows attention and activity. So if you're doing those two things consistently every single day, because the timing is never going to be perfect to do a video. So when's the best time to do it? Do it right then and there, right? Same thing with a follow-up. If I'm having a conversation with you right now and you mention a name for me and it creates a trigger for me, I should do it right then and there. Don't wait on it, because you're not going to do it 2 days from now, 3 days from now, 5 days from now. So there's a lot of power in just taking action in those activities.
Absolutely. Get out of your way and just do it. Quit thinking about it. Just do it.
That's exactly right.
You got to take action.
Perfect. So, well, let's wrap this bad boy up. If there's anything else that we haven't touched on, I know, one of the things you haven't actually met Gavin Higashi, my buddy in Colorado who's in title, but I talk about him quite a bit because you guys are very, very similar with experience level. You both like to leverage golf and stuff like that. Talking about doing the things that you enjoy with the people that you enjoy doing them with. How have you really leveraged that part of it? Because I know, like I said, I've definitely seen, and it could be just the fact that I see more social media through you, and maybe you were always doing these things with golf and at your, Dragon Ridge?
Yep.
Country club, but just talk about how you're better leveraging just those, like doing the things that you enjoy with the people that you enjoy doing with.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to be careful with what we do on the title side. Technically we can't take clients golfing. They obviously can pay their own way. I can invite them out there and away they go. But getting back to that original idea of doing business with people that you like, kind of identify those that you want to be around. It just falls into place where I leverage my ability to go play golf in a charity event with others. They like to play golf. And so then we socialize, we play golf and talk some business, but we just become friends. It becomes relational. Same thing with the sports side of things, whether I'm at a UNLV basketball game or I'm at a Vegas Golden Knights hockey game, I'm running into my clients or my sphere of influence or my targets, and we're just kind of talking, and then I'm making notes. I'm leveraging the things that I like to do. Something that's kind of weird. I like to cook. I've always, well, not always, but I've past 10 years ago taken on this idea of liking to cook, and it's amazing how I start getting into conversations about cooking with people, especially coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, and just utilizing or leveraging the things that I like to do, keeping my eyes and ears open for people that are like-minded, kind of doing things similar to me. And then kind of just nudging into situations where we can have business conversations spinning off of the things that we like to do already. And that's great, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to have a good time every day. We want to have fun. It's no fun talking about title. It's no fun kind of out there beating the streets trying to generate business if you don't have relationships already. But if I'm talking with people or communicating with people that we've already hung out on the golf course, or we've met each other at a Knights game, or all these things, like we got more in common already. So what do I like to do? What do you like to do? Let's leverage those things to create relationships. And then it goes beyond the business side of things. It's all relational. It's how can I help you? It's not, hey, what are you trying to pitch me on? What are you trying to sell me on? I never want to come from that spot. And if I do, I know I'm doing my job wrong. But if I can come from a position of wanting to help somebody, make more money, save time, save money, then I know that I'm doing it the right way. And over the long haul, it'll help. Because there's slumps, there's no doubt. Yep. But if I leverage my relationships and what I do, then I'm gonna win in the long run.
Perfect. And you hit the nail on the head too with being transactional. It's title business or any commoditized industry can become very transactional, but we want to be transformational in that process. So the title becomes kind of the secondary thing. You get to know that person, like them, trust them, respect them, all that kind of stuff, do the things that you enjoy. And then, oh, by the way, it just so happens that you're doing title in the process. And obviously, Chicago Title and the companies that whoever you work with are the ones that are really giving that value, because they're the ones that are making all those things happen, on the back end of it. So, well, man, I know we could talk all day, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's sports, whether it's, struggles and stuff like that. But I do try to keep these around 30 to 45 minutes for our audience. John, I really do appreciate, obviously, you coming on here and spending time with our audience specific to the title business. For our users out there, where can they find your podcast? If they want to reach out to you to maybe spend some time with you, if you're open to it, where's the best way that they can do all that?
Well, they can definitely track down the podcast if they go to wherever they listen to podcasts and just search the John Sanders podcast. That's out there. My social media, Twitter is Sanders PGA. Instagram is Sanders PGA. Obviously, you could go to LinkedIn and search John Sanders, or just jump on the Google and type in John Sanders Chicago Title, and all the information will pop up there. But I really appreciate you having me on, man. I'm super proud of you again. As I said, your success is amazing, and then what you poured into me in 2019, it has already paid off, but it's going to continue to pay off. And I highly encourage anybody that's listened to this to give you a shout, to reach out, because it absolutely was a huge difference in me exceeding all of my goals in 2019, man. So I just can't say thanks enough.
Well, I appreciate that too. And I can't wait to watch you continue to grow in 2020 and us to grow together. There's some things that we're going to be doing together as well. So, man, I appreciate obviously your business, but I appreciate your friendship even more, my friend. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.